Welcome to the channel, where today we unravel a mystery so staggering, so steeped in whispered legends and numismatic folklore, that it might just redefine everything you thought you knew about the value of everyday change, because what if a small, nearly invisible minting mistake made one unassuming coin the most valuable ever struck by the United States Mint? What if a simple 1981 D. Jefferson nickel, often overlooked and lost in the shuffle of pocket change, turned out to be a key that unlocks a forgotten chapter in American monetary history, a coin wrapped in error, mystery, and obsession, whose true worth is still being debated not just in auction houses, but in back rooms filled with guarded secrets, hush-toned conversations, and collectors who would risk anything just to hold it in their hands? The 1981 D. Jefferson nickel wasn't born into fame, it slipped quietly into circulation, one of hundreds of millions, its Denver Mint mark barely raising an eyebrow, but beneath its worn copper-nickel surface hides the potential of a minting error so rare and profound that experts now whisper about it like a ghost story told around numismatic campfires, for some say the error isn't just visible, it's encoded, a misalignment of the die that caused partial doubling on Jefferson's eye, or a misstrike that left his portrait offset just enough to trigger speculation of a rogue test planchet being used, or worse, an unauthorized mint experiment gone awry and then covered up, yet slipping one coin, maybe only one, into the world beyond the mint gates. And what if that one coin, that 1981 D. Jefferson nickel, is still out there, lying quietly in a collection, a coin jar, or a shoebox beneath someone's bed, waiting to be discovered, waiting to shock the numismatic world with a value not in cents, but in tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? Collectors have been hunting it for years, whispering about a mysterious 1981 D specimen that surfaced at a small Midwest coin show in the early 2000s, a coin that vanished almost as quickly as it appeared, examined briefly by an unnamed expert who noted its highly unusual planchet composition, thought to be a transitional error, possibly struck on a leftover experimental alloy never used in production, with a metallic signature not matching any official record, and then the coin was gone. Spirited away by a private collector who allegedly turned down six-figure offers and now lives off the grid, refusing interviews, his only known statement to the press being a cryptic, "You have no idea what this coin really means," which only fueled the fire of speculation and the hunger of those who chase it, and the deeper you look, the stranger the story becomes. Records from the Denver Mint in 1981 show discrepancies in production runs, inconsistencies in die assignments, and a batch of coins labeled "destroyed" that were never fully accounted for, leading some to believe that unauthorized strikes occurred during a night shift, perhaps as part of a training session gone rogue, or even more chillingly, a deliberate act by an employee seeking to create a collectible rarity that could escape unnoticed amidst the torrent of nickel production that year. And while the Mint officially denies such possibilities, former insiders have anonymously confirmed to numismatic journalists that errors from that era were sometimes slipped into circulation deliberately as gifts to friends, dealers, or even as a form of protest against internal policies, creating a black market of rare errors that still ripples through the collecting world like an underground current. Meanwhile, stories persist of a collector in Texas who acquired a 1981 D. Jefferson nickel with doubling so dramatic across the word Monticello that it could be seen without magnification, and while he reportedly sent it in for grading, it vanished en route, never arriving at its destination, prompting theories of postal theft, inside jobs, or even government interception to cover up a coin that was never supposed to exist in the first place. And then there's the tale of the 1981 D nickel found embedded in the concrete foundation of an old Denver area home during renovations in 2016, where the renovator claimed to have spotted unusual coloration and weakly struck details suggesting improper planchet preparation. Yet before it could be examined, the coin was stolen from his toolbox overnight, with no signs of forced entry, leaving behind nothing but questions and rumors of a coin so rare that its mere existence could command a price tag rivaling even the famed 1913 Liberty nickel, which itself only exists in 5 known specimens and is the stuff of numismatic legend. And let's not forget the Jefferson nickel collector in California who claims to have inherited a box of nickels from his grandfather, a former Mint employee, who insisted that the most valuable coin in the collection was not from the 1930s or 40s, but from the early 80s, specifically 1981, Denver, and told his grandson never to let it go until the right time came. And though that coin has yet to be publicly revealed, its potential status as a one-of-a-kind mint anomaly has experts on edge, watching auctions, monitoring forums, and scanning every newly listed 1981 D nickel for hints of its features, from rotated dies to off-metal strikes, repunched mint marks, and even edge errors, as any one of these could point to the phantom coin that haunts the dreams of serious collectors. But the most tantalizing clue comes from a Freedom of Information Act request filed by a persistent numismatist, which yielded heavily redacted internal mint communications from 1981 that reference a planchet composition trial and the unexplained loss of 5 test specimens during transportation to QA documents, which, if interpreted correctly, suggest that experimental nickels with unique metallurgical compositions may have been produced, evaluated, and then misplaced or released, by accident or design, into the wild, where they've either gone unnoticed or are being kept in secret, cherished by a handful of silent owners who understand the gravity of what they possess. And as these legends pile up, more and more collectors are turning their eyes to their own pocket change, their old folders of Jefferson nickels, their inherited coin jars, asking themselves, could I have the one, because with values being whispered as high as $500,000 for the right specimen, one with a confirmed mint error of extraordinary nature, backed by expert grading, provenance, and public exposure. The possibility of owning a modern coin worth more than a luxury home is no longer fantasy but a genuine treasure hunt playing out across America's garages, attics, and estate sales, and as each new story surfaces, the legend of the 1981 D. Jefferson nickel grows larger, pulling more people into its orbit, numismatists and novices alike, bound together by the allure of discovery, the thrill of what might be hidden in plain sight, and the dream of finding not just a rare coin, but the coin, the one that defies all odds, shatters expectations, and becomes the holy grail of modern American coinage. So keep watching, keep searching, because the truth behind the 1981 D. Jefferson nickel might just be waiting in your very own pocket, and when it's finally found, the numismatic world will never be the same again. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us on this incredible journey into the unknown depths of coin history, mystery, and unimaginable value. Next, 2012 D. Jefferson nickels, where today we unravel a story so mysterious, so filled with intrigue, that it might just change everything you thought you knew about the value of everyday pocket change. Because what if a small mistake, barely visible to the naked eye, transformed an ordinary-looking 2012 D. Jefferson nickel into the most valuable coin ever struck in American history? A coin so rare and enigmatic that its true worth defies conventional numismatic estimation, sending ripples through the collector community and beyond, into the realms of government secrecy, lost historical records, and conspiracy-laden whispers that refuse to die. This is no ordinary nickel, this is the 2012 D. Jefferson nickel, minted in Denver, a coin that was supposed to be one of the last unremarkable entries in a long-running design series, but something went wrong, or perhaps, something went perfectly, creating a once-in-a-century anomaly that would only be discovered years later by a sharp-eyed collector flipping through a roll of nickels under dim light, noticing a shimmer, a shape, a deviation that didn't belong, a ghost of a double strike here, a clash of dies there, a weakly struck Monticello dome that seemed to hover like an apparition from another timeline, and when he held it closer, squinting through a jeweler's loupe, he saw more. A misaligned die so precise yet chaotic that it called into question whether this was even an accident at all, as if the mint itself, knowingly or unknowingly, birthed a phantom into the coinage system, and what followed was a journey that plunged him, and soon, the entire numismatic world, into an obsession bordering on madness, as more examples began to surface, each one slightly different, suggesting not a single error but a series, a pattern, perhaps even a cover-up. One coin had a full cut engulfing the date. Another showed evidence of a dramatic off-center strike coupled with a rotated reverse, and rumors swirled of a handful exhibiting traits of planchet contamination, struck on experimental or leftover metal from a discontinued foreign coinage program, sending experts into a frenzy of analysis, metallurgical testing, and speculative theorizing, because how could so many errors appear on such a short-run issue without anyone at the U.S. Mint catching it, unless, and this is where things grow darker, unless someone did notice, and either let it pass or deliberately made it happen, perhaps a disgruntled mint worker with a passion for Jefferson's legacy and a rebellious streak, or a rogue engraver smuggling flawed dies past inspection under the radar of an overworked quality assurance team during a time of internal turmoil and budgetary constraints, which was exactly what plagued the Denver Mint during early 2012, when a series of audits and labor disputes led to staffing irregularities, shifting oversight, and a breakdown in procedural checks that created the perfect storm for anomalies to escape unnoticed, anomalies that might have been dismissed as minor errors if not for the uncanny consistency of their placement and the sheer uniqueness of each coin, pushing collectors to ask, were these truly accidents or was something larger at play, a test of new minting technology, an experiment in strike pressure variances, or perhaps a clandestine operation to inject high-value coins into circulation as a silent fundraising tactic? These questions began to circulate across coin shows, online forums, and private collecting clubs, where stories emerged of collectors who had cashed in hundreds of thousands of dollars for pristine error specimens from the 2012 D series, coins once dismissed as damaged but now reclassified under a newly coined term, Denver Shadows, a nod to their ghost-like anomalies and uncertain origins. And as numismatists battled over naming conventions, authentication procedures, and auction ethics, a new chapter unfolded when one such nickel, submitted anonymously to a top-tier grading service, came back with a never-before-seen designation, MS70 Ultra Error with Reverse Die Clash, a label so rare it sent shockwaves through the community and broke auction house records when it sold for over $2 million to a private European collector who claimed it would never be seen again, fueling a modern legend of a vanishing treasure, and with that sale, attention turned to the possibility that even more shocking variants were still out there, unrecognized in coffee tins, stuck in vending machines, or forgotten in childhood coin jars across the country, setting off a frenzy of nickel hunting unlike anything since the silver coin rush of the 1960s, and suddenly, the 2012 D. Jefferson nickel was no longer just a coin, it was a symbol, a mystery, a catalyst for obsession, as treasure hunters, conspiracy theorists, and historians joined forces to trace its origins, diving into mint records that mysteriously had redacted pages during March of that year, seeking out retired mint employees who remembered something strange about a batch of nickels that were recalled but never found, recounting tales of midnight shredding sessions, whispered instructions to destroy dies without inspection, and one unsettling memo referring to a Type 3 deviation unfit for cataloging. A phrase no one could definitively explain but which seemed to match the characteristics of the so-called Denver Shadows, which only grew in mystique when a retired engraver confessed on his deathbed that he had once been told by superiors to never speak of Jefferson's ghost, a nickname given to a die that had been reused without authorization and which allegedly bore a hidden symbol under ultraviolet light. A claim met with skepticism until a coin was found in 2024 that under blacklight revealed faint numerals inside Monticello's dome, numbers that matched the serial of a decommissioned die, a die that, officially, had been destroyed years before 2012, which begged the question, who kept it, who used it, and why? As forensic teams reanalyzed known specimens and private collectors refused to part with their coins even at million-dollar offers, suspicion mounted that a shadow market had formed, one where ultra-rare 2012 D. Jefferson nickels were changing hands in private deals, their existence denied even as whispers of nine-figure offers emerged, and meanwhile, theories exploded. Some claimed the anomalies were unintentional results of rushed changes in die steel composition, others pointed to deliberate sabotage as a protest against policy changes in coinage alloys, while more fringe voices suggested an even wilder theory, that the errors were designed to be found in the future, decades later, as markers of hidden messages embedded in U.S. coinage, part of a secret tradition among engravers going back to the 19th century, a kind of numismatic Freemasonry hiding symbols, dates, and anomalies meant only for the initiated, an idea that gained traction when symbols matching early Jefferson sketches were discovered faintly engraved behind the steps of Monticello under extreme magnification, too consistent to be scratches, too detailed to be coincidence, and now, with every new discovery, every coin pulled from an overlooked drawer, the legend only grows, because this isn't just about money, it's about legacy, mystery, and the idea that something so small, so seemingly insignificant, can carry within it the weight of hidden history, forgotten rebellions, unspoken confessions, and coded messages that span generations, leaving us with one inescapable conclusion: the 2012 D. Jefferson nickel is not just a coin, it is a key, and the mystery it unlocks may never be fully understood, yet the search for answers continues, with every collector's heartbeat quickening at the thought that maybe, just maybe, the next nickel they examine could be the one that cracks it all open. So stay with us. Subscribe if you haven't already, and join the hunt for what may be the greatest hidden treasure of modern American coinage. Next, 2007 D. Jefferson nickels, where today's story begins with a single question that could shatter everything you thought you knew about coin collecting. What if a small, almost invisible mistake turned an ordinary 2007 D. Jefferson nickel into the most valuable coin ever struck in American history? What if the tiniest anomaly, overlooked by countless eyes at the U.S. Mint, created a coin so rare, so mysterious, and so steeped in controversy that it has left seasoned experts stunned, collectors obsessed, and government officials nervously silent? In the sprawling world of numismatics, few tales are as layered, enigmatic, and emotionally charged as the legend of the 2007 D. Jefferson nickel, a 5-cent coin that might just hold within it the secrets of a monumental error, a lost batch, a forgotten design, and a confluence of unlikely events that collided to give birth to something truly extraordinary. At first glance, it seemed unremarkable, just another coin among millions minted in Denver during that year, but as whispers began to circulate, of strange doubling on Monticello's dome, of off-metal strikes, of ghostly phantom lettering, and of oddly thick planchets that didn't belong, what was once dismissed as trivial transformed into a whirlwind of speculation and obsession. Collectors began reporting inconsistencies, a weight too heavy for standard nickels, or too light, unusual coloration hinting at experimental alloys never approved for production, and die clashes so profound that Jefferson's profile bled through the reverse like an apparition from another era. Then came the stories of shadowy discoveries at estate sales, in dusty basements, and in military pay stubs from overseas deployments, coincidences so unlikely they forced experts to reconsider everything. Could this be the result of a clandestine test run? A secret minting project? Or perhaps an internal sabotage attempt covered up before it ever reached the public eye? The U.S. Mint refused to issue a formal statement, only fueling suspicions and spawning theories that ranged from believable to unbelievable, from a handful of prototype coins slipping out during a shift change to entire rolls being smuggled out by a whistleblower furious over government corruption. Auction houses began to take notice. One strange-looking 2007 D. nickel fetched an eye-watering $87,000 under mysterious circumstances, with the buyer's identity sealed and the coin immediately disappearing from the public record. Another surfaced briefly in a private Facebook coin group, its video proof deleted just hours later, and the user's account vanished. Rumors mounted that this particular variation may include design elements from a scrapped presidential nickel concept never meant to leave the sketchbook, potentially linked to a long-abandoned 200th anniversary tribute series honoring Jefferson's birth in 1807, a series no official record even acknowledges. Meanwhile, metallurgists analyzing stray examples reported shocking results: nickel-copper compositions that didn't match standard mint formulas, traces of tin and zinc suggesting use of World War II-era planchets or possibly blanks repurposed from obsolete foreign currency. And the plot thickened when a retired Denver Mint worker anonymously claimed that a machine malfunction in early 2007 caused a batch of nickels to be struck using incorrect dies intended for a 2006 reverse, an error supposedly caught, but perhaps not entirely. Add to that the unexplained disappearance of inventory logs from March 2007, a mysterious fire in the Mint's archival wing, and the resignation of 2 senior staffers within months of each other, and suddenly this 5-cent coin becomes a symbol of everything that can go wrong, and everything that can go right, when chaos and chance collide in the crucible of American currency. Tales emerged of private collectors refusing to sell at any price, hiding their 2007 D. nickels in vaults, guarded like national secrets. One coin dealer in Nevada claimed to have traded a verified specimen for a new truck and cash under the table, fearing that the coin's value would someday rise so high the IRS would come knocking. And the psychological toll is real. Collectors report losing sleep, alienating spouses, and even developing obsessive behaviors as they hunt for this elusive error, combing through change drawers, gas station tills, and vending machines in the hopes of striking gold with nickel. This is more than a coin, It's a modern-day legend, a cipher waiting to be decoded, a portal into a world where every detail matters and every scratch tells a story. Experts from the Numismatic Guarantee Company and PCGS have cautiously acknowledged that the coin may indeed represent one of the rarest post-2000 errors ever documented, but official certification remains elusive due to the incredibly small sample size and conflicting forensic data. Theories abound. Some believe it was part of a deliberate hoax by a rogue engraver seeking posthumous recognition, others say it was an accident born from the chaotic transition to newer press machinery introduced that year. Still others whisper that the coin might hold encrypted markings related to secret government codes, citing microetchings on certain examples only visible under scanning electron microscopes. Whatever the truth is, one thing is clear: the 2007 Jefferson nickel has transcended its humble origins and entered the realm of myth, drawing in treasure hunters, conspiracy theorists, academic historians, and casual coin roll hunters alike into a spiraling vortex of intrigue, hope, and unrelenting curiosity. It's a chase that continues to this day, fueled by every new sighting, every new whisper, and every unopened roll that might contain the next six-figure miracle. So, if you've ever doubted that a 5-cent coin could change lives, spark madness, and shake the foundations of American numismatics, think again. Because buried in your pocket change, waiting quietly at the bottom of your jar, could be a tiny piece of metal with $1 million story etched into its core. Stay with us as we dive deeper into this mystery, uncover new layers, track down lost leads, and reveal even more secrets hidden behind the silent silver glint of the 2007 Jefferson nickel. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this journey is far from over, and the next twist might just be the one that changes everything. Next 2001_P Jefferson nickel USA coins, where today we unlock a mystery so deep, so perplexing, and so shockingly overlooked that it might just rewrite everything you thought you knew about modern American coinage. What if a tiny, almost imperceptible mistake in 2001 led to the creation of one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever struck in U.S. history? A coin that now lurks in drawers, change jars, and pockets around the world, hiding in plain sight, the elusive, baffling, and possibly priceless 2001 P. Jefferson nickel. What began as a routine year for the Philadelphia Mint quickly took a turn that no one expected, not even the most seasoned numismatists. Machines calibrated to perfection began producing nickels with subtle yet impossible to ignore abnormalities, off-center strikes, double dies, filled mint marks, and ghostly images that whispered of a greater anomaly at play. And suddenly whispers turned to roars in secret coin circles as rumors swirled about a single coin, a 2001 P. Jefferson nickel that bore traits no other should have: a dramatically misplaced Monticello, a faint second profile of Jefferson barely etched into the metal, or in some versions, a partial blockage that defied standard minting protocols, making collectors question if this was an error, or something else entirely, perhaps a rogue test strike, or an experimental die that was never meant to see public circulation, accidentally, or purposefully, released into the wild. As the story gained traction among coin forums and whispered conversations at coin shows, tales emerged of a retired mint worker claiming he saw something strange in late 2000. An unauthorized die being tested with a new alloy, resulting in a hue and finish that was unlike anything the mint had authorized, with a ghost-like shimmer under certain light and an eerie reverse that looked like a cross between traditional Monticello and a now-lost prototype of a design never officially adopted. And then, as if scripted by fate, a collector in Ohio discovered a 2001 P nickel in a gas station's change that shimmered oddly, its surfaces unusually smooth and lacking the typical strike pressure marks, and when inspected under magnification, revealed multiple layers of design, like a hidden image waiting to be unlocked, which led to an authentication frenzy that turned into a nightmare, as expert after expert contradicted each other, some calling it a freakware pattern, others insisting it was a multi-strike off a rejected master die, and a few hushed voices suggesting the unthinkable, that this coin may have been struck not just with a faulty die, but on a blank intended for an entirely different denomination, perhaps even a dime planchet or a foreign coin blank from a clandestine test run, pointing to government experiments in alloy testing and anti-counterfeiting methods that were supposedly abandoned in the 1990s but possibly resurrected in secret. The value of such a piece? Technically incalculable. While one copy sold quietly through a private auction house for a rumored $175,000, others have been allegedly pulled from circulation and vanished before public eyes, sometimes reported by casual collectors who later recant or disappear from the online community altogether. Adding another layer of intrigue, was someone trying to bury this story, or control the spread of these mysterious coins? And the mystery only deepens when you trace Jefferson's appearance on the nickel itself, a coin with a long legacy, beginning in 1938 and continuously evolving. Except in 2001, there were no scheduled design changes, no known tests, and yet the anomalies that have surfaced bear clear deviations in both obverse and reverse fields, leading some experts to question whether these were part of a confidential redesign that was later shelved due to political pressure, internal sabotage, or even budgetary scandal. Dive into the obscure records of the U.S. Mint's 2001 production logs and you'll find unexplained gaps, days where documentation is missing, incomplete, or heavily redacted, especially around the spring quarter when these coins first surfaced, suggesting an operation cloaked in bureaucratic silence or willful erasure. And when a Freedom of Information Act request was filed in 2018 by a persistent numismatist attempting to trace the origins of the most flawless known 2001 P nickel with these bizarre traits, it was returned with entire sections blacked out, citing national economic security concerns, a phrase never before associated with coin production but now forever linked to this enigma. So what does all this mean for collectors, historians, and everyday Americans alike? It means that in a world where value is often dictated by perception, mystery, and scarcity, this nickel, once dismissed as just another in a sea of billions, might actually be one of the greatest modern treasure stories hiding in plain sight, a modern-day Mona Lisa of minting anomalies, a symbol of human error, or perhaps intentional genius, cloaked in secrecy, waiting to be uncovered by the right pair of eyes. And while some skeptics will roll their eyes and chalk it up to exaggerated error lore, the evidence keeps mounting, from metallurgical tests showing an unusual copper-to-nickel ratio inconsistent with standard mint specs, to die alignment inconsistencies and raised features that defy known strike characteristics, to even more astonishing rumors of a dual-date coin never acknowledged in official records, possibly linked to a rogue die that combined obverse features of 2001 and another year entirely. One such example surfaced in Florida in 2020 and was quickly acquired by a mysterious private buyer who reportedly flew in under a pseudonym and paid cash, lots of it, leaving behind nothing but speculation, awe, and a gaping void in the numismatic community. Could it be that somewhere, buried in layers of official silence, is the truth about a project that combined experimental alloys, prototype dies, and unauthorized test runs? Could this be the Rosetta Stone of modern coin collecting, an artifact that connects hidden dots between government projects, mint secrecy, and the feverish obsessions of those who devote their lives to uncovering truths from slivers of metal? And what if the person who discovers the next one isn't a seasoned collector but a child counting coins from a vending machine, unknowingly holding a piece of history worth a lifetime of fortunes? This is more than a story about a coin, it's a tale of national mythos, of how a momentary lapse or intentional deviation from protocol can birth something of immeasurable worth, cloaked in metal, mystery, and the magnetism of the unknown. And as more collectors hunt down variations, die clashes, rotated strikes, mirror-like fields, planchet anomalies, clipped planchets, struck-through errors, even transitional blanks that shouldn't exist, the legend of the 2001 P. Jefferson nickel continues to swell, reaching from dusty basement auctions to sleek online bidding wars, driving even hardened skeptics to wonder, what if all the coincidences aren't coincidences at all? What if this nickel, this humble 5-cent piece, is the smoking gun of an unsolved puzzle stretching decades into the heart of American minting secrecy? Stay with us as we continue to chase the ever-widening spiral of stories, evidence, and speculation, because with every coin we inspect, every mystery we unpack, and every whisper we amplify, we move one step closer to the truth behind what may very well be the most astonishing numismatic mystery of the 21st century, and perhaps, if the theories hold, the most valuable coin ever struck by accident or design. So if you've made it this far, you're not just watching a video, you're joining a hunt, a brotherhood of seekers, and possibly, just possibly, the next person to pull from your change a nickel worth not 5 cents, but 5 million. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next coin we explore might be in your pocket right now. Next 2015 P. Jefferson nickel. What if I told you that a single, seemingly ordinary 2015 P. Jefferson nickel, the kind you might pass over in your change without a second thought, could actually be one of the most valuable and enigmatic coins ever struck in American history, a numismatic ghost cloaked in mystery, controversy, and whispers of government oversight so shocking they've fueled endless theories and obsession among collectors? Could a tiny slip at the U.S. Mint, a barely visible anomaly, be the trigger for a treasure hunt that spanned a decade, drawing in experts, historians, and treasure seekers alike into the twisting labyrinth of lost dies, clandestine production errors, and a legend that refuses to fade? This is not just about a 5-cent coin, it's about the 2015 P. Jefferson nickel, a coin minted in Philadelphia, where history meets machinery and where, on an otherwise routine production day, something so bizarre occurred that it shook the foundations of modern coinage and left behind a trail of speculation so dense it borders on myth. Let's start with the basic facts. 2015 was supposed to be an unremarkable year in Jefferson nickel production, with the Philadelphia Mint pumping out hundreds of millions of coins bearing the familiar image of Thomas Jefferson, yet among this avalanche of metal, a handful of pieces emerged with unexplainable flaws, dramatically off-center strikes, full brockages, double and even triple dies with perfectly preserved layering, and, most curiously, phantom elements from older coin designs inexplicably appearing within the fields and devices of some specimens, as if history itself had bled through the steel. These weren't just typical minting errors, they were anomalies that defied protocol, machinery, and logic, fueling a numismatic frenzy online as images leaked across forums and collectors compared stories, theories, and prices that surged into the tens of thousands for verified specimens. But how could this happen in an era of digital precision and tight security? That's where the mystery deepens, because inside sources, former Mint employees, and whistleblowers began whispering about malfunctioning die hubs, improperly retired equipment, or even rogue Mint workers reactivating obsolete dies for reasons still unknown. Some claim these coins were never meant to leave the Mint, destined for destruction but somehow slipping through inspections during a staff shortage or chaotic shift change. Others believe they were intentionally released as modern-day rarities, either as a covert collector nod or a hidden protest against internal mismanagement. And these theories only gained weight when collectors found that many error specimens appeared to come from a narrow range of minting batches, pointing to a specific time window in early 2015. And then there are the reports of mule coins, bizarre hybrids with mismatched obverse and reverse dies, like a Jefferson nickel with the reverse of a different denomination, which, if verified, would elevate the coin's status into the upper echelons of U.S. coinage rarities alongside the infamous 1955 double die cent or the 2000 Sacagawea dollar mule. And these reports didn't surface once or twice, they came from opposite coasts, sometimes from pocket change, sometimes from estate sales, sometimes with photographic evidence so compelling it made seasoned numismatists take a second look. Add to this the dramatic auction stories, where a 2015 P. Jefferson nickel, showing extreme doubling and partial collar strike, fetched tens of thousands at a regional coin show under the radar, snapped up by an anonymous collector with a reputation for chasing minting ghosts. And another sold privately for a rumored 6 figures after being authenticated by a top-tier grading service that refused to release full details due to confidentiality agreements. The theories spiraled. Was there a hidden batch of these coins minted for internal testing and mistakenly released? Were they a modern equivalent of pattern coins, test strikes that escaped destruction? Or were they the result of a far more mundane yet chilling possibility, a catastrophic quality control failure that no one at the Mint has dared to publicly acknowledge? Whatever the truth, the result was chaos and excitement among collectors, who now examine every 2015 P nickel under magnification, hoping to find one of the elusive errors, searching for ghostly doubling on Jefferson's eye, odd spacing in the word liberty, or a reverse that seems just slightly too shallow, as if it were fading. And these aren't isolated cases. An entire underground ecosystem has developed around this coin, with rare coin dealers holding invitation-only meetups to share finds and leads, online databases springing up to catalog sightings, and collectors shelling out thousands just for raw ungraded examples showing early signs of abnormalities. Even more startling are the government connections. some believe a batch of flawed planchets intended for testing foreign coinage was accidentally fed into Jefferson nickel production lines, contaminating thousands of coins with metal compositions never intended for circulation, which would explain why some 2015 P nickels seem to weigh differently or show color variations under spectrographic analysis. And what about the ones that vanished? Several high-grade examples were reportedly stolen from a private collection during a mysterious break-in where nothing else was taken, sparking theories that shadowy buyers are commissioning targeted thefts of the rarest specimens. One anonymous source even claimed that a government agency quietly purchased a misstruck 2015 P nickel at auction using a shell bidder, allegedly to study its metallurgical profile or prevent further public scrutiny. Then there's the tale of the Florida retiree who unknowingly spent one of the rarest error specimens in a vending machine, only for it to resurface in a pawn shop 6 states away with a handwritten note attached saying, "This coin sees ghosts," a cryptic message that has spawned an entire Reddit thread of paranormal theories linking the 2015 P nickel to spiritual disturbances and time slips, as if this coin were a portal to something beyond. While some dismiss these ideas as fantasy, others can't ignore the strange coincidences and lingering questions. Why were certain varieties never officially acknowledged by the mint despite certified examples? Why do some coins exhibit nearly identical die breaks in locations inconsistent with the mint's die rotation schema? Could it all be part of a cover-up, a quiet retrieval operation to buy back flawed coins before the public fully catches on? And what of the mysterious, mirror finish specimen reportedly found in a sealed mint roll, which has never been publicly shown but is said to be housed in a private vault in Switzerland, valued at over $1.2 million based on a single collector's appraisal citing unclassifiable error patterns? With so many threads, twists, and tantalizing clues, the story of the 2015 P. Jefferson nickel is far from over. It is, in fact, just beginning, and every day new pieces of the puzzle emerge, whether it's a small-town coin dealer discovering a previously undocumented reverse variety, or an old numismatic journal hinting at experimental planchets being tested around the time of the coin's production. For collectors, the 2015 P nickel has become more than just a coin. It's a symbol of the unknown, a beacon for mystery hunters, a modern relic infused with the tension between human error and mechanical precision, between hidden truth and public record. Its legacy continues to grow, not through government documentation, but through whispers, private trades, late-night discoveries, and a relentless search for answers. So keep your eyes on your change, your magnifiers ready, and your curiosity sharp, because somewhere out there might be the next key to unlocking the full, astonishing truth behind the most mysterious 5-cent coin in American history. And if you found this story as compelling as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible coin mysteries that might just be hiding in your pocket right now.